What's going on, everyone? So the New York Knicks have officially made Jericho Sims available for trade, likely because Mitchell Robinson's back and then they have Karl Anthony Towns. So he is expected to be traded by the trade deadline. And question that I want to pose to all of you is, should the Lakers go and look to acquire Jericho Sims? The Lakers obviously need a center. It's shaping up like the Lakers aren't going to be able to get the center that they want, a higher tier, kind of more pricey, expensive center. Lakers are incredibly limited after the Luka trade on just assets and picks now, which is fine. You got Luka, right? But Lakers need ideally two centers. I don't hate the idea of Jericho Sims either way, right? Jericho Sims, I would love to bring in, even if it's in a backup role, right? Like, let's say you do get like a Miles Turner or something like that. I still would then, if you can, go trade for a Jericho Sims because he's a 6'10", 6'11", 250 center, right? Floor running, athletic, can jump, a Luka type of guy. This Jericho Sims is the exact type of guy that I think Luka would make look fantastic, right? I think he'd go and be a double-double guy on the Lakers in a starting role, maybe like a slightly more significant double-double guy. But Jericho Sims is a guy that I do like, right? He's had some nice stints with the Knicks. Now, I know people are going to look at the surface. They're just going to, stat watch and be like, this dude's trash. Couple contexts. One, he's on a Tibbs team. Two, he's on a Tibbs team. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand what Tibbs team means. But I'll explain. So, Tom Thibodeau is known for not playing guys other than his main, 5-6 guys, right? Every year, the guys that are on the Knicks, the main, 5-6 guys play more minutes than anybody else in the league, right? He is very big on not going deep into their bench. He's very deep about not playing young guys. He's very, he has a very specific type of way. So the only time he ever plays Jericho Sims is when he's forced to, when he has absolutely zero chance, right? And again, the Knicks have 3 or 4 guys on their roster that, especially now with Mitchell Robinson back, that can play and fill the center spot. But to go over the stats and kind of give you an idea of Jericho Sims, again, the stats are very misleading. Also worth noting, he's 26 years old. So he's a guy that, again, is young enough to be a piece for now and the future, kind of pairs and lines up with Luka. But again, 6'10", 250, so good size, good strength, again, athletic, floor running. 39 games this year in just under 11 minutes, 10.8 minutes per game. He's only getting 1.2 field goal attempts per game. 1.2 field goal attempts per game. So for those that stat watch, context matters. Again, it's hard to go and give you 10 points when you only get one attempt, right? Kind of hard to give you more than that. But yes, so 1.2 attempts. He is a career 72% from the floor type guy. Again, most of his stuff is lobs at the rim. He is, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford type of guy that he'd be for the Lakers. But as far as 2-point percentage go, again, 70%. As far as free throws go, he isn't a great free throw shooter. This year, he's 61.5%. Last year, he was 66.7%. Year before that was 75%. But he's never taken or averaged more than 0.7 attempts. And that was his rookie year. Rebounds this season, 3.3 rebounds, 2 defensive, 1.3 offensive. An assist, it'll be nice to round up to an assist, half a steal, half a block. And 1.6 points per game, right? Again, look at his stat line. Now, let's look at his per 36. Now, per 36 obviously doesn't tell everything, but it gives you an idea of what it would look like if he was playing, full starter minutes, or at least close to it, right? He would be averaging 5.5 points. Again, he only gets 1.9 attempts per game, or 1.8 attempts per game, right? So 5.5 points, but he'd be averaging 11 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block per game. In a per 36, right? Again, it's not my favorite idea for a starter. Obviously, I'd like a more proven starter, but Lakers are very likely going to have to lean into these cheaper options, right? A Jericho Sims, a Day'Ron Sharpe, guys like that. Guys that can come in, aren't going to break the bank. You can swap for vet minimum guys and stuff like that. Bring them in. It's not going to cost you anything. You might be able to just kind of swap a guy, right? Like, those are the kind of moves that the Lakers are going to be having to look for, right? Lakers are going to need to be creative in the center trade market for them. But Jericho Sims, again, he this season is on the final year of his deal. He goes into free agency next week. He'll be needed a new contract, but it's nothing major. He's an unrestricted free agent, so a team could come in and give him significant money, but I doubt it. You're probably signing him to probably a short-term deal is my guess, because he'd probably want a short-term deal as like, oh, if Luka makes me look good, then maybe I can get some bank type thing, right? Or that's what I would do, right? But he's making not even 2.1 million, but we'll call it 2.1 million. So, and he has a club option that was picked up by the Knicks this year. So again, a guy that's $2 million, right? Now you might be asking, Tyler, why would we want him over a Jackson Hayes? Because of the size and physicality, right? Jericho Sims is just much more physical on the interior. He's much more, he's just a better defensive piece, in my opinion. He's better disciplined, right? But it's more so the size. Right? He's just having that 250 in weight, I just think is so much, it's a big difference for the Lakers, especially when they don't have a guy like Jackson Hayes, for example, is 220. That extra 30 pounds is massive, especially when you're going up against, centers in the West. Right? You're talking about big physical, like think of Zach Edey, Şengün, obviously Jokic, right? Like Sabonis, like guys like that. It'd be nice to have a guy that has some meat on him. I've even talked about, I wouldn't hate bringing in like a Trey Jemison, right? Like can you get a Trey Jemison in 6'11", 270, right? So then you have like if you were to trade for a guy like this, you have 6'10", 250 guy, 6'11", 270 guy. So you got the two guys away. And then if you wanted to keep Jackson Hayes, keep Jackson Hayes. Seen a lot of people say like that they'd rather have Koloko. I like Koloko. I like Koloko more than Hayes, but they're not going to, unless they end up trading Hayes, but chances are they're probably going to stick with Hayes. I don't want to bring in another Hayes, right? Like, yes, Koloko is the better shot blocker, defender, stuff like that, but they're the same. They're both like 220, frail, thin, aren't banging with the big boys, right? I don't want to go from, Jackson Hayes to shot blocking Jackson Hayes. I'd rather go from like a Jackson Hayes to a 6'11", 270 guy, or Jackson Hayes to a 6'10", 250 guy, right? Like things like that. Guys that, yes, but they still both can do the same thing. They're both very athletic. Yes, they're both physical and interior presences, but they're also guys that can run the floor. They're guys that can be that lob threat and hammer it home. The guys that pair best alongside Luka. So, to me, obviously, it depends on what you can get. The issue is, I like, what is it going to cost? Let's say a second. Can you really not get Day'Ron Sharpe for that price? That would be my one, argument. I'd rather get Day'Ron Sharpe. Also, I'd almost be willing to give up a pick swap for Day'Ron Sharpe, because Day'Ron Sharpe is 23 years old, right? So he's even compared to Jericho Sims, is 3 years younger, right? He's 6'11", 265, right? Well, depending on where you look up, right? That's one thing. No one knows how tall Day'Ron Sharpe truly is, right? Everywhere you look, he's either listed as 6'9" or he's listed as 6'11", depending on where you look and where you get asked. But to me, Day'Ron Sharpe's just more proven. Right? He's a guy that's getting near double. He's averaging 8 and 8 in 12 minutes of action, right? So I don't hate that, but I also again don't hate the idea of Jericho Sims, or if you can get both, like I mentioned, right? Can you get both in a trade, in a deal? So then you got a 26-year-old and a 23-year-old center. So now you have those two big men, right, that can kind of be those pieces for you, be the guys that can kind of plug in, two guys that would make sense alongside Luka that really or that would actually benefit from Luka, that Luka would actually like to be that lob threat, to be the guy that, he can, because he likes to, get into the teeth. Defense collapses and then throws that lob. So you'd have guys like Jericho Sims or Day'Ron Sharpe can be that piece, right? Set the screen, roll, call for it, and then Luka just lobs it up and boom, right? Guys that can rebound, get you offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, everything in between. So again, it's not my favorite trade. It's not my favorite idea. the Lakers could pull off, a better center, then yeah, I'd love to do it. But even if they got a better center, I still don't hate the idea of Jericho Sims. Although I do think that there's an argument to go with Trey Jemison, right? Again, 6'11", 270. He's like a bigger Jericho. I don't know. I've really liked what we've seen from Trey Jemison. Call me crazy, but I do. I think he's just been an interior force, presence, high energy, effort. Like he's Jackson Hayes, but 270. Like it's perfect. I love that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love the idea of Jericho Sims? Do you hate the idea of Jericho Sims? Is he a guy that you're like, yeah, I would definitely look to go acquire? I mean, he's not going to cost much. He's leaving in free agency next season anyway. Knicks have no use for him. They want to just kind of get off of him. Maybe you can work something out can you swap him and Reddish, right? Give him a wing, send him back to New York. Problem is Tibbs didn't really want Reddish, but I don't know, maybe you could work something out. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.